show. We've got a great show for you today. I know there are a lot of people excited, tuned in, ready to hear from the team behind Star Wolves. That's a project Brian and I recently talked about as one of our 5 projects to watch in April. So we're back with an update, and we've brought the team along with us to break down what's next, what's coming. Tell us about that exciting game that we want to hear so much more about. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. This is the roadmap. All right, everyone. Yeah, let's get those howls going out there live in the chat. I can see them starting to come in. We'll get those pulled up on the screen here. So go ahead. If you are here watching us live on YouTube right now, I got to see some howls in the chat there. And also shout out to anyone who's watching this after we aired live or listening in on the podcast. We appreciate your support as well. Before we get into today's show, I do want to give a quick shout out to FTX US, the sponsor of today's episode. FTX US is one of the largest cryptocurrency exchanges in the world in terms of trading volume and daily users. And the FTX app is used by over 6 million people to buy crypto and NFTs with no transaction or withdrawal fees. And you can use your phone or computer. And the FTX US trading platform offers NFT trading on both the Ethereum and Solana blockchains with no gas fees. To find out more, click on that link in the description and also in the chat right now, and give a shout out. Let FTX know that Benzinga sent you there to get started. Without further ado, I think it's time to bring on my co-host, Benzinga's own Brian Moir. Brian, what's going on, buddy?
Hola. Oh, living the dream. We're back. We're here. It feels like we haven't done a show in years.
We're back. I mean, you said it right. Last Wednesday, we had a boot camp. Thursday, I was under the weather. We took the day off. We did a replay of an old episode. So it's been a whole week, Brian, since we aired an episode. And what better way to come back than to talk about a project that we're excited about, and also that we can say that I own, you own, and Alyssa owns. It's not every day that we get to say the 3 of us all own NFTs from the same project. So that's very exciting. And again, this was a project we talked about as one of our top 5 projects to watch in the month of April. It's Star Wolves, and so excited to bring the team on. Brian, what do you think? Should we get things kicked off here?
Sounds good to me.
All right. Well, without further ado, let me go ahead and bring on from the Star Wolves team. We have R2DGen, we have Charlie, and we have FMC, that's Free Market Capitalist, for those who don't know him from the Alpha Mint Morning Show. What is going on, guys? Welcome to the roadmap.
Oh, hey, Chris. How you doing?
Doing great. So excited to have you guys on here. You know, you just heard me talk a little bit about it, right? A project that we mentioned as one of our top 5 to watch in April. We all own it. Me, Brian, and our producer, Alyssa, who's working behind the scenes right now. And, you know, one of the things that's great about the roadmap is we love to do these interviews, you know, and bring on the teams, because then you get that behind the scenes look, right? How was the project created? What's coming next? You know, and you guys have this game that is just so cool to talk about that I'm really excited to, we can play some video footage and talk about it during it. But what do you think? Let's get started with some questions here. We've got all 3 of you, so we'll try to pass the mic around and let everyone go here. So up first, a question we always like to ask teams, you know, behind NFT projects is, you know, just give us a brief overview. How did you get started in the world of cryptocurrency and NFTs prior to the start of your own project, Star Wolves here? So let's kick things off with R2 here.
Yeah, man. Thank you. And thanks for having us on, Chris. It's really exciting to be on this side of it for once. I got into crypto in like mid 2017, 2018. I was around for the advent of like crypto kitties, one of the OG NFTs. But I don't know, for some reason, the curiosity never clicked for me there. So there's a little bit of cope of not diving into NFTs right then and there. But I held through all the bear market, the depression, held all my, junk coins all the way to zero and all that stuff. But, when 2020 came around and there was a big dip in the market, it seemed like a great time to start accumulating more of it and held through. Then, of course, I met these guys on a little platform called BitClout. And, that led into the NFT rabbit hole, started trading it, started buying them, started accumulating them, started hanging out with people in the community, and then here we are today.
Awesome. The old BitClout reference. Love that platform I was on as well. Let's kick things over to Charlie here.
Hey, yeah, and thanks so much for having us, guys. It's a real honor. I think my history with crypto and NFTs is fairly similar to R2's, just in terms of like around the same time I got in. But I was on the VC side of fintech and the kind of explosion of that world from kind of, I witnessed kind of the shift from the Web 2 fintech world to the Web 3 fintech world. And, it was a period of skepticism for me, because when you see like a 1-person, 2-person startup talking about building back then, it was a slightly strange like viewpoint, but it like the Web3 community has developed into its own beast, and it's here to stay, and that just means that I've been accumulating since that point, and I'm now fully in.
Awesome. And Mr. Free Market himself, over to you.
Yeah. So I've been in NFTs a few years. It was DeFi summer at the end of 19. I can't even remember. I think it was the end of 2019 or 2020. And I discovered a coin called Rarible. I had been, vaguely aware of NFTs in the background, like punks and crypto kitties, as R2 had said, and had never really dove in. But after discovering it, something clicked in me, and I said this was it. I dove headfirst and have been absolutely obsessed with them since. My account on Twitter, which I've had for 10 years, was really finance focused, but NFTs did not get a lot of play, and I went over to BitClout, as R2 and Charlie had mentioned before, really so I could talk about NFTs. I was like, well, let me, it's all I want to talk about, and no one in FinTwit is appreciating NFTs. It's a little different now, but back then it was still, changing your thing to a punk, changing your profile picture to a punk was like such a shocking thing. They didn't want to hear it. So I went to BitClout. It was all I talked about. Even on BitClout, I think people knew NFTs were coming. They kind of knew it was this thing, but I talked about them incessantly. It was all I cared about. And, I pounded it into R2 and Charlie's head. And then when, the summer came about, NFTs just blew up. And it was, the thing that I had been the crazy guy talking about this nutso stuff was finally being kind of accepted. And I know it's still kind of niche, but yeah.
This is awesome because, from what you guys said, naming off some of these years, these old projects, it's a little bit different. One thing Brian and I can say is a lot of the teams we interview behind these, NFT collections, 90% of them answer that question for how did I get my start in NFTs by saying NBA Top Shot.
Right? First team not to.
You guys are the first in a while where at least one founder didn't mention Top Shot. I mean, I'm biased myself because Top Shot was really my entry point to NFTs. But I mean, so many teams that we've had on, they all mentioned Top Shot.
Well, I mean, apes were born out of there, right?
Yeah, exactly. So awesome to get some different background and different time views here. Let's dive into Star Wolves, right? So you know, you have this great project. We recently minted. We've got a lot to talk about, you know, the future of it. But I'm wondering if we can take a step back and go into the development of Star Wolves. So, you know, you guys were all friends from previous experiences here. How did the idea of Star Wolves kind of come to be? Did, you know, one person lead the charge? Was it all a group effort? And, you know, when was the idea really created? I'm not sure who wants to kick things off for this one.
I can start, and then I think FMC can slam dunk because he has a good kind of side of the story too. But the original kind of concept was just a bit of an experiment. You know, I think I started like playing around with the wolf character somewhat, and it was honestly hideous to look at if you see like the first iterations of them, like really bad. But I think I pinged it to R2, and he started playing around with it too, and I think both of us were like, it's not quite fitting. But at the same time, we were sort of sharing it around a little bit, and you know, like FMC and MVO and Scott, who were kind of, you know, the overseers and advisors at the time, and have developed into more now. But they were like, there's definitely something here. Like there's definitely a place in the market for wolves and for this kind of brand to come about. And really, like we started it about kind of October last year. So we haven't rushed into anything. Like we've thought about everything carefully, and yeah, so it's, you know, the original concept to now has been a slow, meticulous process, as opposed to like a bang aha moment, you know, that may have been for many other collections. But FMC has a particularly good anecdote on this too.
Well, yeah, I mean, because I had, you know, like I said, I had been in NFTs for a few years, and you get involved with a lot of projects, and you just always think, you know, hey, I would do this differently, or we would do this, or this is what I would do. And you always kind of wanted to do it. But, you know, I know a lot of people say it in a joke way, in a jokingly way, but I really did care about NFTs. I thought I found the industry very interesting. Like it wasn't just to make money. It was that I found NFTs to be very compelling. I didn't want to approach a project unless it was really serious. So I just would conceive things. I would make my own plans and stuff like that. And I had conceived a plan called Meta Wolves, right? I had actually written out this entire plan where, like, I had always been obsessed with wolves as a kid, and I loved the game Star Fox, and I had in my head these pixel wolves, right? And I'm not an artist. I had no way of knowing how to go about conceiving them. And as Charlie said, we were in Alpha Mint one day, and Charlie just started dropping these wolf pixel, and I was like, if someone could have pulled out of my head what was there, it was like because we never talked about it. This was like serendipity. I DM'd him. I was like, yo, you're not going to believe this. I sent him over the plan, and he was like, wow, should we do this? I was like, no. We should do this. And it was like, it felt so natural. It was like this thing that really came together, and here we are. 6 months later. Yeah, we have put real time into this. Most NFT projects are conceived and mint within 2 months. This has been a labor of love for Charlie and R2, who have really been putting in just insane amount of time and hours conceiving this project and art, and of course the devs too. So
yeah, for sure. And I just want to just jump into what they said.
Yeah, go for it.
The wrong way. You know, Charlie's definitely not wrong. I mean, we were really happy with the first one. It was really cool, like free market. We were all really excited about it, but it was this like constant iteration of like, it can be better. It could be better. Maybe the angle can be a little bit better, or maybe the shape of the nose could use some work. And like the development of the artwork was so slow. so deliberate. I mean, we were even starting to work on some traits on some of the base layers, and it eventually all just got scrapped and restarted and whatnot. It was a labor of love. And, in free market, and in my case, we've been doing a morning show every single morning for the past, God, what is it, 7-8 months now? We did episode, I think, 114 this morning. We have this like really long history of recorded videos that are up on YouTube of us talking about NFTs, us picking apart NFT projects. And this was really us putting our I'm going to say money where our mouths is, right? Backing all of that up with like, this is how we think it should be done. And I know Charlie's ethos was always like, there's got to be a better way to do NFTs too, right? And we acknowledge the fact that we could have pumped out a project in a couple weeks or a month or something. We hit these really big, high volume cycles where it was just everything was minting out, everything was flying. We weathered a storm of like, it seemed like there was like 8-9 Wolf derivative projects back in November, December, right after our Twitter opened up and kind of went semi-viral. And behind the scenes, the whole time, we basically just said, no, this was always a project that we were going to do on our terms. This was always a project that we were going to build the right way. And we weren't going to let external factors like bull and bear markets or projects that were, it felt like they were copying us. Maybe it was just coincidence. Who knows? We weren't ever going to let that make us do something we didn't want to do or put out a project or of quality that we weren't happy with. So that was, behind the scenes, a huge part of the conversation. And that's why, the first messages really were sent back in the very end of September. And the mint happened in April, right? So it was a long process.
Yeah, and I mean, FMC, you started to hit on it, and R2, you really went into it there. That was going to be my next question, right? This has been months, right? That we have, I say we as in people like me who were in the Discord, right? We were ready to mint, right? Our ETH was ready, and you guys were like, hey, patience, right? We're building this thing, to be awesome. We're not going to rush it. It's not a money grab. We have long-term plans, and R2, I really like what you said, of the bull and the bear markets not deciding, the terms, the mint date, and all that. So you guys already hit on it, but anything else to add, just on why it was so important to, wait and get everything 100% and put all that time and effort into this, where you potentially left some money on the table there?
Yeah, I mean, R2 touched on it. We were pretty determined to like go against the grain, right? And there are so many familiar tactics that we see in the NFT space that are fairly easy to do now, and that they have some proven success models and stuff like that. But we just wanted to see if there was other ways of doing it, and that made it harder for us, obviously, and more time intensive. But in the end, it's sort of another layer to what we wanted to achieve, which is not just release an NFT collection and a game coming out as well. We also wanted to set a precedent for other collections that may come over the next year or two to say, hey, I don't actually have to do it the way that 90% of other NFT collections are doing it. And I think the real gems that have happened in kind of the NFT history so far have been the ones that have done things differently, have played by their own rules, have really marked their line in the sand when it comes to certain things. And I think it shows, and it gives trust, and it gives longevity that is really important to us. So, build it slow, and methodically and meticulously, and we think that is the long-term play. We consider ourselves a long-term play for people to be involved. And just on a side note, I was talking about those walls that we were doing very early on. Someone just dropped that wolf into our Discord. So if you want to see an embarrassing piece of art, you can go jump in there.
Well, so before the generative wolves minted, there were 100 Genesis wolves. Can you tell us about how people were able to get those and kind of what they are?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So the Genesis collection was released over a 3 to 4 month window, which kind of seems insane now that I'm saying it out loud or thinking back on it. Right? It was a way for us to test a few things, a few theories that we had about our Discord and about the game that we wanted to make. So if you've ever joined our Discord, you would see that we have a few different mini games in there, and we have a really talented guy that builds those. Some of them, started off with really basic stuff like a text-based quest, and then they kind of built up all the way to kind of PvP battles between multiple people that go on round after round after round, and those can last like an hour and a half sometimes. Like people in the Discord used to watch other people play text-based PvP battles like that. That's like the level it got to. And so every single week we would do maybe 10 to 20 wolves, Genesis wolves, and you would have to complete various tasks. They would change every week. We would change the format, and in some cases they would be based on these PvP battles. Sometimes they would be slightly left field. So a community vote or something like that. So people that had been in for a while could be voted for by the rest of the community. And then other ones were like the whitelist role in our Discord was called the Elders, and we told them one week that you guys have to decide how the next 20 Genesis are going to be released. And so that was a pretty interesting thought experiment. But so that's how kind of we rolled those out. And what they mean to us is basically they were R2 and I's kind of test bed for the wolves, right? We were testing out traits, we were testing out eyewear, we were testing out concepts. This one on the right up there is an orc, and some of them are much more space-like. So we were testing all of the different kind of physics that we could play around with the pixels, and each of these had a backstory as well that kind of came with the Genesis token as well. R2, what was your kind of relationship with the Genesis?
Yeah, I mean, I see a bunch of people have definitely found that old wolf that was posted there. I still have some attachment to it. It was a good looking wolf, but like you said, it was really just about kind of even just testing our own limits with how to manipulate the pixels. I mean, every form of art can be difficult in its own way, but it's such a limited canvas to work with. The wolves are a 70 by 70 canvas, and to get the curvature on something is a trick. To get it to make look like it's sitting on something properly, shadows, the way that everything interacts with it. I mean, it is there's a lot of finessing that goes into it, and this was really just our way of trying to get really, really good at it, right? And just building from all aspects of it, whether it's the background, whether it's the color palette, and how to do shading and all of that stuff. It started off as that test bed, but like Charlie said, it was really just about making sure that we knew what we were doing when it came down to putting it all into the generative ones, and they turned out just so well. And the Genesis holders are such a strong group of people, and they've been such a dedicated part of the community because they put in a lot of time and effort to get these. And a lot of that just stems from a belief in the project, which we always appreciate so much.
Awesome. Sorry, yeah, my dogs are kind of we're going crazy in the background, so I have my computer on mute so it wouldn't blow up the whole interview. But so let's talk about the mint cost and amount. What went into deciding both of these factors whenever you guys decided to, launch?
Is that for the Genesis still? Or
No, the regular project.
Yeah, so for the regular project, we had that nice mirroring effect of 8880008. Like we just we like playing into the just from a surface level, we like playing into numbers as a means to create some allure and mysticism around the project. We always had those kind of things from the very get-go. So I mean, that's obviously not a reason why you would ever choose a supply, but it kind of worked nicely. We decided on 8,800 plus to fit with our ambitions for the game. We wanted to launch the game, and we want to launch the game to people that hold a wolf, at least one, and they can match that wolf with compatible NFT projects, like any pixel art projects that we start to partner with. And we announced 4 of those just the other day. So we wanted enough of a sort of beta test group. I think it's beta test group in America, for the early version 1 of a game, right? So it would have been kind of crap if we had like 1,000 people playing it, or even less, right? Because people will hold multiple of them. So we wanted to have roughly enough people for it to be exciting, and for matchmaking to happen, and for there to be a leaderboard and rankings and skill-based matchmaking and stuff like that. And then when we think that the game is the kind of the dust is removed and we've smoothed out the edges, then we can open it up to people without holding a wolf, and that then creates a much larger audience for the game, right? So just to answer it simply, we thought that the size of the collection fitted with the first version of the game in terms of the audience size we wanted, and then the price of the collection we thought was fairly typical with the market. We didn't think it was too expensive, and we didn't think it was too cheap, so we thought it kind of fit where we thought we were comfortable with. And actually at the time leading up to the mint, I think the meta around supply and prices were changing so much so quickly. Like every 2 weeks it would be completely different. What 1 week it would be free with a 1,000 NFT collection. The next week it would be 10,000 with a 1 ETH Dutch auction and stuff like that. So we were pretty set on the size and the price. And I think the zigzagging of the market eventually kind of came back to where we thought it would. So that's where we landed.
Yeah, I mean, with the ebbs and flows, what's kind of in vogue and everything that's happening with different mint processes in different projects, it really does it does create a stress point. And as we said, it was always on our terms and how we wanted to do things and what we thought was right. The supply and the price was something that was what we were always aiming for leading up to this for quite some time. But as you watch the market, like sometimes you'll go through these phases where 0.05 ETH is considered an expensive mint. And then you'll go through these phases where like everyone's minting over 0.1 and anything below it seems cheap. And then, as Charlie said, sometimes it's in the free meta. And then we went through that, and we're still kind of in it. but seeing a lot of Dutch auctions, and that gets people up in a roar and whatnot. So we did end up just sticking to our guns and thinking like this is the best price point with the supply, especially to allow us to put the gears in motion to be able to create the game and make sure that there's a good solid runway to deliver on all of the things and more that we've been working on in the dark.
Sweet. So we have a little bit of new. We're gonna segue into something right now. We've decided that we're gonna bring up our wolves and ask, what you guys think about the ones that we got, and we want to know what your guys' favorite traits of the generative wolves are. So we ask every project what your guys' favorite traits, not just the rare ones, not just what everyone wants, but what your personal favorite traits are. And apparently, I was just informed that I actually got a rare one, and I did not know because I don't know how to tell what's rare or not. So if you guys could dive into that, but that one's mine.
It's a good looking wolf there. Yeah, you got the magma.
Handsome wolf.
Yeah, you got the magma wolf there with a pretty rare armor type on.
Damn right I do.
Yeah, he's a good looking wolf. My favorite traits, I would have to say the Stardust Hunter eyewear, which is like it's kind of like a big pair of sunglasses, but they have kind of this like blue star array inside of them. Yeah, this guy. I just think those are those are badass.
Really cool.
That is sweet.
I kind of want a pair in real life. Like maybe that's where
I'm sure we can find a way to we'll find them. I'm sure we can make that happen.
Or someone will make it. Someone in the Discord right now is probably like, "Hey, I'm gonna make that out." So
we have a pretty wild community. I'm sure somebody's gonna hear this and be like, "I just sourced it out. I got it."
These are a little close to it, I guess.
Yep.
Nice.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. Yeah, so that's one of my favorite traits. And the other one is an armor type called the Plasma Recon armor, which actually goes, I think, with those sunglasses super well. So if anyone has those sunglasses and this armor, you've probably got my forever wolf there, and I'm gonna have to bargain
right there.
Yeah.
How about you, FMC and R2? Favorite traits?
So easily my favorite trait is the angry emoji goggles. When I saw we had a bit of a Chinese wall. We're not sharing traits or metadata. Hey, it was gonna be a surprise for me too. All right. And when I saw these angry emoji goggles, I was like blown away. And consequently, the lightning background behind the wolf, one of my favorite effects that's there. So those are definitely my two favorite. And I will tell you right now, the ones that I hear so much demand for are those pink furred wolves. Man, people love the pink fur.
And the blobs.
Oh, I see. Well, they said don't say anything rare, but I guess R2 can go into these blobs.
The blobs have really just taken on a life of their own. I mean, they're obviously super cute, and people have been having fun. They're definitely more of a rare trait. But for my own kind of discovery process throughout all of this, the blob seemed like a fun thing to start animating. So I've been messing around as my next journey in pixel art is the actual animation behind it. So animating and sharing some of those blobs in the Discord has been a lot of fun. Yeah, I love them. We're going to be having a blob naming competition as well in the Discord too. So keep an eye out for that because the blob does need a name. I'm gonna go in a little bit of a different direction and just say I don't know what it was, but I love so many of these. The red bodied ones have just popped so much. We talk a lot about it on the show when you look at these collections and you look at the floor level ones, the naked trait ones, just the ones that are going for the base price. You want them to look still good, that you want them to have a high variety and high variation so that when people are wearing these as their metaverse kind of avatars in Discord and Twitter, it is unique to them. They feel like they're wearing something in particular that represents them. So we were really happy with that, even just on the not so rare ones. Like really happy with the response that people had to saying like, oh, you know, mine's only the number 700 or 7,500th rarity, but man, it looks so good. I love it. I don't even care. And that was by design. That was the goal from the get-go for people to like them. But just the red body, the swole red bodies too, like they've stood out to me all the time, and they really look great. So that was my kind of takeaway from it. The yellow ones are really growing on me lately too.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, looks so
Alyssa,
good.
so throw up mine. So this is one of mine. So I actually own 5 wolves here. So if you guys don't mind, maybe share here which one of my 5 is the favorite of you guys, because I kind of have a favorite, and also my kids have a favorite, but I'd love some more opinions here.
Ooh, he's got a gun.
Yeah.
Yep, I got one with a weapon.
I like all of them. I would say.
Look out now.
I like this guy. I think. Oh wait.
The one before this, right there.
Yeah, I think green and.
All right, so Charlie says
and yellow pops really nicely together.
I gotta go the red wolf with the Star Wolves before.
Yes.
It's so clean, and you know, before I saw the angry emoji goggles, that was my favorite trait, was the Star Wolf goggles. So,
how about you, R2?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the one with the gun. But they like the yellow on yellow, or I guess it's like maybe like a greenish tint. I'm like, I think I'm slightly colorblind. I don't know. But yeah, no, that one is super clean. There's something about those like almost matching background and fur trait. Like normally I'm not a big fan of that, but I just thought the wolves looked so good like that.
Yeah, I got to go back to the red one here. Of the 5, I think the red one is my favorite. I do like how clean it is. And you know what's weird, guys, is one of the things I've been using is my kids, right, to look at, you know, the artwork. And they actually picked the red one as their favorite. And normally they're fans of, you know, different traits, a lot going on in the picture. And they picked out the clean one as their favorite, I think, just because of that color. So, my oldest 2, they're 9 and 7. This is their favorite of the 5. So
great minds think alike, Chris.
Great validation there, right? If the kids are loving it. Here you see on screen is the NFT owned by Alyssa, our producer, with the rare trait. Tell us a little bit about this one that Alyssa managed to mint.
That's crazy.
Got that heat.
Yeah, that's an R2 special. That mouth right there. I think it's like underrated right now in the community. Like it's so hard to get a hold of one of those that people are pretending it doesn't even exist.
Well, you know, traits are they're a very important, obviously, thing in your collection. And while you sit there conceiving all these possible traits, you also kind of want to give a shout out to the projects that came before you and give a little wink and an Easter egg and harken back. And it was just, this is a trait, I think, from other collections that we have always shared and loved. So while, you know, this is pretty much the only one, it was basically just an Easter egg and a wink back to so many collections that we love with that rainbow vomit, baby.
Awesome. Well, that was fun, guys. We always like hearing, you know, from the teams about traits. And it was fun that, you know, I was able to put up mine. Brian could put up his. Alyssa could put up hers. We got a wide range of traits. But let's dive into, you know, what I'm sure a lot of people here watching and listening want to hear more about is the upcoming game. So I'm going to start with the newest thing first. You guys put out a tweet, I believe it was yesterday, and it said, Wolves gotta hunt. It's in our nature. Not all mining missions look the same, though. They range from common to legendary. And there was some video with that. If Alyssa can get that up in the background here, if you guys can walk us through what's going on in this video and the missions inside the game here.
Yeah. You've almost got to play the beat for that video because it's so good as well. But this particular mission is more of the passive end of the spectrum. So it's kind of a set it and forget it a little bit, because really there's not much you can do once you've picked the asteroid that you're interested in mining, and then the time it takes for it to finish. And then, if you're successful, you're successful. If you're not, you've burned a small amount of the resources that you took with you to take that mission. So a little bit of detail here is that that there is a range of difficulty when it comes to these asteroids, and the rarity of your squad that will equate to how powerful it is and how effective it is on battle missions, but also on these mining missions. So if one of your rare wolves will have a high HP, which will translate to damage as well when it comes to the mining missions. So, you might want to shoot for a slightly rarer asteroid and reap more of the in-game resources and in-game token. And so, so part of the interesting dynamics that we had to deal with when it came to the traits and rarity and stuff is that we had to normalize a little bit against something being hyper rare and something being super floor. There had to be some semblance of balance between those two pendulums, and so in the instance of mining, even if you have a fairly simple wolf or non-rare wolf, you should be able to easily do kind of common mining missions, and you should be thinking about maybe going up one level as well. And the beauty is too, like if you have a rare kaiju, let's say, and a floor wolf, the HP combined of those two is going to be fairly high, because the rare kaiju is really going to give you a boost in those instances. And yeah, that's about it for the mining missions. They're fairly simple. There's a few things you're going to have to think about when you do launch the mission, but it's a fairly simple gameplay, that one.
Charlie, you mentioned rarity of the NFTs. I'm a little biased here because you just saw, my wolves on screen, and
Yeah.
I had one that had a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Will weapons come to play a factor inside the game at all?
So we recently put a bounty out into our community, where we asked the community to take all of the traits, get the percentages of each one and whatnot, but also think about the context we put out in the light paper for the game, the gameplay and the basics, and think about how each of the different traits could play a different part in the actual gameplay. So you may have traits like the gun that might be effective in a PvP battle where you and I match against one another. I don't have any guns, but you do. So every other round or so, there's just an extra boost for you that hits me with some damage that makes me wish I had a gun. And so we're in just like I wouldn't be able to answer your question on that exactly right now, because we're still waiting until I think about 4 more days until we get the results back from various members of the community, and then you'll be able to see them all. But what we like to do is sort of in inverted commas decentralize some of the decisions we make with the or empower our community at least to make some of the decisions as well. And there's a flip side to that, which is like if you've just come into the Discord and you see like, hey guys, help us do a lot of the mechanics for the game, you may feel like, oh, are these guys doing anything? I mean, we really are. Like, we're very detail oriented, but I think it's fun to do something where the game is not going to like self-destruct if the traits feel slightly imbalanced at the beginning, right? But each of the traits will have some certain boost in certain situations, and based on what we get back, we may need to add a few more elements into the game as well. One thing I would like to do down the road as well is, you know, all of the kaiju traits, for example. It would be really fun to see if we could work on, you know, how those could impact different parts of the gameplay as well. And then you start to get like almost like an infinite set of variables that start to come in, which I think will make the game even more interesting and different every time you come in and log in.
R2, FMC, I mean, you guys have been in the NFT space for a long time. Why is it important here to kind of tie in the rarity and the traits, you know, within the game?
Well, basically, when you talk about some of the other play to earn games that have been out there, a lot of times the first phase is about building rarity, and it can become complex. And we really wanted to be more straightforward. And we thought, you know, in general, the rarer the wolf, the higher the XP. And that we thought would be pretty easy for people to understand, as a lot of these games can get complex, especially when you start reading the manual. But I always tell people, it looks complex from the outside, but if you sat down and read the instruction manual in a video game, it would feel complex. Like, it's weird to, you know, we put out these light papers and you try to visualize and gather in your head what you're going to be playing. But really, the way most people learn a video game is by playing it. So this is, you know, this is just something I want people to keep in mind. But this is how we're thinking. Everything, as we said, is in testing now. And yeah, we're really excited to start rolling it out in phases.
Yeah, easy to play, tough to master. I mean, that's the core ethos of a lot of these good games that stand the test of time. In terms of incorporating all of the traits in different ways, is, you know, we're very conscious of the fact that different people have different ways they want to play and enjoy a game. Some people are min-max, where every action is supposed to produce the highest yield efficiency. I mean, that's not even in Web3. I mean, people do that in World of Warcraft and all types of different things, right? Some people just like to passively play a game. They like to check in on things. They like to see, you know, it go up over time, but they don't have a lot of active time to spend on it. And then there's all types of different people in between. The interesting thing about the traits and being able to tie different bonuses and different buffs and whatnot into different elements of the game is that, you know, you can mix and match certain crews of wolves to tailor and you know, tailor it to your gameplay, right? Like, if you are more of a passive player and you want to go on these mining missions, maybe there will be a couple of traits that help the efficiency of your mining missions, but, you know, those wolves might not be great in a PvP type setting, right? So it really does encourage discovery. It encourages, you know, people to really kind of have some thought process about how they want to build their teams, what three they're putting out there. But it also just empowers people to have choice. And I think at the end of the day, choice is one of the biggest things that can encourage the longevity of a game. There's different ways, there's different paths to success, and different paths to success of your own play style too, right? Because it can be frustrating to try and keep up with people that are playing games for 10, 12 hours a day, and you know, they're putting some distance in behind you. But at least if you're having fun building and participating in the game in your own way, I think that's a very powerful thing to put into players' hands.
Awesome. So, you know, there's this phrase, I believe it was a song for a little while too. 3 is the magic number. So, R2, you just hit on it a little bit there. Who wants to take a stab at that? Why is it important to have these squads of 3 versus maybe just owning one wolf, or, you know, one wolf and another partnered project, and to have that team of 3 within the game?
I can take a stab at this one. There is an importance to us building a collection that in the ensuing game is the most powerful powerful creature. It just makes the most sense because it's the natural extension of the collection, and having another collection whose input on the community and the game and such is nowhere near as kind of like insightful or the amount of time they put in is much lower than us. So it just wouldn't make that much sense. But that being said, we thought it was important that we kind of be a platform to rise all ships. So we're big fans of pixel art. We love pretty much like every pixel art project that we ever see, right? Depending on a few factors, but we're big kaiju fans. I hold the Littles, and Galactic Apes were a huge moment for all of us. Like we love that Mint Night and stuff like that. So like we just have a real fondness for it, and we want to help be kind of a collection that is an anchor point for every single one of those. So being able to use some of your rarest pixel art NFTs in a game, I think is a novel and innovative idea, and it is something that can stand the test of time, because new pixel art projects will come along and create new dynamics within the game and bring new audiences to it, and it's just the concept of longevity is important to us as well. But when it comes down to it, having one wolf in your squad is going to be is going to put you on the table and allow you to play and work at an effective rate. Having three, of course, is just going to be treble the amount of the most powerful creature in the game. And it just made the most sense to us from a dynamics perspective, and rewarding our holders, as well as like bringing in the Genesis Wolves as well. They're going to be on another level, right? They're the single most powerful game playing units in the Star Wars universe. So they themselves valued very highly, just because the quality of the Genesis community is so good. But they'll also be extremely powerful in the game as well. So that's the general thought process around
it. Awesome. So we're kind of running a little short on time now, so I'm going to ask you guys two questions that I know we can go into a lot more detail and probably fill another hour on. Just in like 2 sentences, can you guys run down the token and what it's used for? And then also, what is maybe the timeline of the game to be released? Maybe Q2, Q3. Like, when can we expect to be able to play it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think FMC can touch on the token a little bit, but I'll just I'll answer the second part. We've been building the game for about a month now. From speccing things out and designing things and getting everything ready to actually building the UI, which means that we have we had a head start on when the collection actually launched. Our goal is to have the full game playable by the end of the quarter, and we intend to roll pieces out over time, that when we finish maybe a module of the game, we may roll that out early, so that players can start developing their home base and earning some resources and such. So that's the game plan that we have right now. But we don't think that by end of Q2 the game's going to be finished full stop. Like, we will build more and more and more into it. What we've figured with the Discord was, like, we rolled something out, people played it, they told us, oh, these parts suck, can we change it and make it more interesting by doing this? We fully intend to do that approach again, because it was really rewarding on both sides, because it's really rewarding to hear someone going like, I actually play this all the time, but there are certain elements of it that just really bother me, and you just got to take the positive from that, which is like, I play it all the time and here's how we can make it better, right? So fully intend to build the game, the gameplay, as well as the different machines in the game and the different collections that are applicable to the game, and expand it over time in logical and methodical steps. FMC, you got anything on the token?
Yeah, I know you guys are in a hurry. I'll try to make it short. Tokenomics, as they call it, can get a little long-winded and complicated, but in general, we're going to have a few tokens in the game. There's 2 that are just in game, and there's 1 that is an ERC 720 that is going to be Stardust. Okay, we are launching what we consider an extremely balanced economy. And what does that mean? We want there to be birds ready to go. Okay, we want people to have the impetus to play the game, and that will be advancing either in time or going on missions and the type of things that you have to burn that token for. Our other main directive is to have LP incentives ready to go at launch. That, again, is a little bit of a complicated conversation, but it's how you incentivize people to fund the LP that keeps your economy balanced and going. So that's the basic rundowns of the token, and of course we could go deep on it at another time.
Yeah, absolutely. We just want to make time for the giveaway, but that's a great overview.
Yeah, that was a very quick and precise summary there, FMC. So, yeah, I mean, we could talk all day about this. We'd love to have you guys back on, of course, as this game rolls out. And we get more video footage, and maybe we can actually play the game, I don't know, on stream sometime. That would be pretty sweet here too. But you guys were so gracious. The last time we talked about Star Wolves and the April projects, we actually were able to do a giveaway of a Star Wolf. And here you guys are on the show now, and you said, hey, let's do a giveaway and give a live audience member right now watching the stream a Star Wolf. So I don't know if we've figured out the logistics here, guys. Do we have a question ready to go to ask the chat? So R2 saying we do have one. So before he asks it, just to let everyone know, we'll do our best to pick a winner here. We're going to do whoever answers the question right first in the live chat right now. So get that keyboard ready so we can pick a winner. I'll turn it over to you, R2 here.
Yeah, for sure. If you guys have been following along or listened to some of our past AMAs, you'll know the answer to this, but feel free to just take a stab at it and go. You're going to be able to guess on this one as well. So we had a lot of lore submissions. We wanted people to participate in the creation of the Star Wolves universe as not only a way to, get people on the allow list, but really to just try and make some commitment and, really tie people into their own, wolf in the Star Wolves universe. Roughly how many submissions did we get before the mint day? That is the question. Go ahead.
All right. What a question. Are we going Price is Right rules here? Does over count or is it most accurate?
Yeah, we'll go Price is Right rules. Okay. And when I get one that's pretty close,
you pick. As soon as we get one that's close, it's on you here. Awesome. Well, that's a fun question. And again, I mean, I've been in that Discord for a long time, and it's been so fun, right? To play the games in the Discord, to interact with everyone, just a great community. And I think that's really helped this project excel, as we got closer to the mint date. So what do we got coming in for answers here? Anything close yet?
Yeah, we've got the winner there. Cosmos said the magic number 4,000. That was roughly 4,000 was the number that we put out there. So Cosmos nailed it. OX Charlie was close, but he went a little bit over that number that we were looking for. So yeah, we were.
Oh, and I'm seeing Licks now too, saying around 4,000. A little late, but it looks like some people at least paid
man.
attention. So Crypto Cosmos with the win. Awesome. So Crypto Cosmos, if you want to shout out in the Discord, or otherwise you can email us, shows@benzinga.com. Let us know you were the winner, and we will get that sent over to your wallet and connect with the team here. Before we let you guys go, R2 and FMC, I don't know if you guys will self-shill here, so I'll do it for you. You guys have a morning show Mondays through Friday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. Just give us a brief overview of what you guys cover on that show and why people should tune in.
Yeah, you know what? We start off with a brief overview of like the crypto and even the stock market, if it's, you know, pertaining to macro situations and how it all lines out. And then we go over some news, and then we just talk NFTs. It's you know, it's supposed to be just a pretty easy, lighthearted overview of kind of what happened the day before or over the weekend. It is kind of a rear facing look on the NFT market, and it's just kind of breaking down that stuff. We really wanted to create a show where, you know, if you're busy with your day job or your family or whatever, it could be a good place to just tune in for an hour, sometimes an hour and a half, and just kind of get your NFT fill.
Yeah,
Awesome.
exactly. We love it. I think R2 said we've done 114 episodes.
Yeah.
So we do it 5 days a week. Yeah, NFTs, baby.
Awesome. And you guys see that link right now in the description, in the chat. So be sure to check out the guys. Charlie, FMC, R2, this has been so much fun. Again, a project that me, Brian, and Alyssa all own. We were able to show off our NFTs today, get your opinions on them, which was great as well. We are looking forward to seeing this game come out, and we for sure will have you guys back on. And again, thank you for being so gracious to do a giveaway for all our listeners and viewers here.
Thank you so much
guys.
for having us.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Brian.
Really appreciate it.
Awesome.
See you in the
Discord. See you in the Discord. All right. Well, we say bye to the founding team here of Star Wolves. Again, a great project, one that Brian and I have been talking about. Brian, we're out of time here. So we are going to say farewell as well. We will be back tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern time, and we will be getting everyone caught up on all the news, the headlines in NFTs. And we're also going to take a look at some projects under 0.25 ETH between tomorrow and Thursday to maybe give some entry points here and some research for our listeners and viewers. So make sure to check us out. I am going to drop a link in the description right now. We are not currently airing our normal slate of Benzinga content on YouTube because we are live from Miami, the Psychedelics Capital Conference going on right now. So you can click that link and tune in for some great interviews with some psychedelics companies. And then, of course, our Cannabis Capital Conference happening tomorrow and Thursday as well. So great content all around. Brian, it's time to sign off here. We will see everyone tomorrow. Anything else to add here?
That's it. We'll see y'all tomorrow.
All right. Take care, everyone. And go ahead and check out that stream for the Psychedelics Capital Conference.